Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the third day and the final day of the Asian Bioethics Conference here in Dhaka. My name is Ravi Chandran and my co-moderator is Professor Palaya Yassin. And the session for this morning is on bioethics and reproductive health. There will be two speakers in this session. First is Professor Muhammad Abdul Rahman, and the second speaker, Professor Dr. Turshid Talukdar. Okay, so can I call on the first speaker who will be speaking on high rates of non-medical cesarean delivery in Bangladesh. Welcome.
Thank you, dear President of the session and the audience. I'd like to present an important issue nowadays, which is high rates of non-medical cesarean section delivery in Bangladesh. The background is that the trend of rising the cesarean deliveries in Bangladesh, especially in private sector. If we look to the background, in 1962, facility-based cesarean section was about 65 to 78% in private sector, and 7,500,000 women in Bangladesh undergo unnecessary cesarean delivery in Bangladesh. And very little knows about this characteristics, the characteristics of these families whose goes under cesarean delivery. The objectives of our study to determine the proportion of cesarean delivery, then factors associated with cesarean delivery, and cost incurred, and the views of the clients who undergoes cesarean delivery. The methods applied, it was a cross-sectional, quantitative and qualitative studies, conducted in 12 selected urban, semi-urban and rural hospitals. First, the reports of motor delivery in the year prior to the survey, 2012, were analyzed for 12 selected hospitals to know the proportions of cesarean delivery in compared to normal vaginal delivery. Besides, we like to know the socioeconomic status, antenatal care, delivery and postnatal care of 1,430 women recently delivered by cesarean section in the selected hospital. Qualitative information was collected through individual interviews and activities with hospital management, OBG guide, specialists, and other medical personnel who are involved with the ward of cesarean delivery. Quantitative results show that percent care cesarean section delivery in 12 hospitals. In the previous year, the Ajipur Maternity Hospital, the Dhaka Medical College Hospital, Shohid Sohrab Medical Hospital, Maisi Medical College Hospital, and Hospital, Center for Women and Child Hospital, then one Joshua 250-bed hospital, Shotipur Upazila Hospital, Monhorti Upazila Hospital, Daudkandi, Kishoreganj, and Chaukasa Upazila hospitals. And it is shown that our Ayurveda hospital, Dhaka Medical College Hospital, 83% the delivery occurred by cesarean sections, and followed by Atri Hospital, which is private hospital, and also CWCH. 68% and 69% respectively. And Canary was also shown in a remote hospital, that is Upazila Hospital, a bit higher proportion of cesarean sections. Regarding the socio-demographic conditions of the respondent, maternal age was 24 plus minus, age at first age was 18.2 plus minus, age of first birth 20 years, household members, average household member was 4.7, and household income 14,450. Literature rate was 84% among the mothers and 87% among the husbands. 91% respondent was housewife, and main service of the husband was business and service workers. In regard to the individual care, if we look, only 54% of the mothers take adequate individual care, that is 4 and more. And individual care provided to them 66% and also brief 94% how to use that. If you look at the obstetrical history, menstrual regulation, the experience of menstrual regulation was 20% mother, abortion 2.4% mother, DNC 0.6%, and IUD intrauterine death of the fetus 8.5% mother. And among the responses, 43% were primary parts. Percentage of maternal fetal indications of cesarean delivery. Maternal indication was more 62.9%, and fetal indications 32%, and for both it was 5.1%. The main fetal causes was less movement of the baby, increased heart rate, then these presentations, parents first life, and the most common cause was child. The respondent was said the child was in Gambia. And among the maternal causes, the most common cause was previous cesarean section, followed by cervix was not dilated, and there was late labor pain. And one slide showed that any emergency situation, probably to go to the mother to the hospital. 66 or more, almost more than two-thirds of the mothers say that they have no any emergency conditions to go to the hospital, and 50% mothers has ruptured membrane, 4.4% mothers bleeding for vagina, and another 6 to 8% delayed labor, and obstetric death was the another complications. Time of cesarean section as per expected dates. When we looked at 44% of the mothers was under cesarean section, goes under cesarean section in time, that is expected date of delivery, and 37% before date of delivery. It was and 30% was only done after expected date of delivery. Could cesarean sections delivery have been avoided? Is the question. In this slide, we find that 35% of mothers with primary parents, several presentations, and without any complications undergo cesarean section. And 8%, more than 8% with several presentation, though they were waiting for early delivery because take out the fetus. Multiple history of previous cesarean section of 12%, they also can be avoided from cesarean section. Multiple with history of previous cesarean sections, 26%, though the number percent is very high, but we know that BBAT, vaginal delivery after cesarean section can be possible by through motivation, by proper arrangement and with the help of necessary equipment. Multiplied with this presentation was only 2.4%. There is some indication for cesarean section. Campus line with no history of cesarean sections. Campus line with history of previous CD have so absolute indication only for cesarean sections. Multiple response was there than others. And out of 1,430 responded, only 10% had home plan. There is a notion that when patients come to the hospital and see in the next slide, they are handled by many paramedics or somebody is in the house. But in this study, it is revealed that only 10% of the mothers were handled at house by the paramedics, died, or politicians, doctors, or others. And of them, only 4.5% was given medicine. So why they came to the hospital? And 10% referred by health complex. When they go to the health complex, the doctors refer them to the hospital, the higher hospital, where the specialty is more available, more facilities are available. Referred by personal physicians, when they have many of them have some physicians during medical care, and they refer them that you should go to the hospital, while ahead to delivery pain. And majority means 37%, more than one third, came to the hospital for treatment. And 70% preferred because of nearer to the house, and negligible amount told that lack of attendance at home will look after them. And choice or mode of delivery. 55% of the respondents thought that they will deliver normally, that is vaginal delivery they were expected. And 33% think that they may need cesarean delivery, because we saw that 26% were previously cesarean delivery and 30% have done choice. If we calculate 58 and 30, 55 and 30, 66%, more than 2% of the respondents do not know, do not agree, go to the cesarean sections. And our one objective is that how much they have to spend for cesarean delivery. And it was in three components, hospital, drugs, and hospital treatment, and total was 7,500 average. And how to manage the money? From saving only 11%, husbands heavily 53%, female joint 5%, loan, there is a big percentage, 28% of the respondents take money as loan from the other people. And 63% and 70% told that it was very quite hard to them to have money from the other people. And qualitative parts of the study, opinion was taken from the management, that specialist, OBGYN, and also the patients. The majority of the clients came to lay hospital, it was the notion. Many of them came with maternal complication, fetal distress, and hospital had no arrangement for proper cesarean section, that is CTG, neonatal intensive care, etc. And I thought, opinion of OBGYN specialist, so doctors failed to recognize fetal distress earlier. Opinions from the Upuzilas, it was thought that if the patients undergo some problems at night, how they will take it, so that they do the cesarean sections earlier. Yes. And patient's opinion also was they were motivated by brokers and other people. And so we learned that 10% had where most mothers did not know about vaginal delivery after cesarean section. Final incentives also attract the doctors and management to do the cesarean sections. So how ethics can handle such non-ethical issues is the big questions for us. And fear of public education should not be tackled by should be tackled by good counseling, skill and human values, not by increasing cesarean sections. This study was conducted with the financial support of Ministry of Research Council of Bangladesh, Ministry of Planning. Thank you all for questions.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank
So
you.
indeed,
Excuse me. There is an announcement. We start the program, but with us our chair, Dr. Muhammad Mustafa Zaman, advisor, researcher, and publication, and focal point, gender, equity, and right, World Health Organization. And we will continue the program according to the schedule. Okay. Thank you. And Ravi Chandramurthy, he substitutes you and he starts the program. Okay.
so
Thank you very much for the introduction. I beg apology if there was a miscommunication about the venue. I ended up going to the planning commission in auditorium and then I had to come back. My sincere apology for the miscommunication. Please go ahead, Professor Ravi Chandramurthy.
Oh, okay. Okay, I thought I was relieved of my duties. Okay, thank you very much, Professor, for your interesting delivery presentation just now. We will keep the comments to the end. Now I would like to invite the second speaker. The second speaker is Dr. Khurshid Talukdar. Yeah. Okay. We'll be speaking on reducing the rate of cesarean deliveries in the Center for Women and Child Health. Please, you are given 10 minutes. I will let you after the 8 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair, and Professor Abdul Rahman has given us an excellent paper on the factors which are associated with families who are having cesarean sections in Bangladesh. And one of the hospitals he mentioned where the rate was very high, as we saw in 2014, was my hospital, the Center for Women and Child Health. And it was after Professor Abdurrahman's study of a number of hospitals that we decided that our hospital needed to do something to reduce its rate of cesarean section. So the global context, the national context, you all know cesarean deliveries are rising without decrease in maternal and neonatal mortality globally. The 2015 WHO statement shows that regional cesarean delivery rates should not exceed 10%. The 2016 Bangladesh Maternal Mortality and Healthcare Survey found that cesarean deliveries had increased from 12% in 2010 to 31% in 2016. This is overall, but 50% of deliveries in Bangladesh are in the home. And so if you consider just facility-based deliveries, it's actually much higher, 65%. And private hospitals account for 83% of deliveries in private hospitals in Bangladesh in 2016, where by cesarean section is much higher now. It's going up at exponential rate. The classification of cesarean deliveries has always been in controversy, but in 2001, Michael Robson from the National Maternity Hospital in Dublin proposed a classification system called the 10-group classification system, which has now been adopted by the WHO in 2015, called the Robson classification, which shows you whether cesareans are unnecessary or not. So it's a wonderful tool to help hospitals understand where they should intervene to try to reduce cesarean sections. So I won't go into the technicalities of it because it's not an obstetric community, But overall, these are objective parameters. These are not subjective in terms of the assessment by the doctor. These are things that are uncontroversial, and so it's a very objective way of assessing the women who have had cesarean section. So Robson himself has said, what is unique about this classification system is that although first popularized by comparing cesarean section rates, it can and should be used for comparison of all perinatal events and outcomes. This would allow delivery units and researchers to investigate the relationship between multiple events and outcomes depending on the different processes involved. And so I've given you a picture. Which one is Robson? He's the second from the left. Okay, right. So these are the 10, and so it's a permutation combination of these 5 factors, and you come up with 10 groups. I won't go into the details, but just remember that group 5 are the ones who have had a previous section, and so they get another section usually, but not necessarily, you don't have to. Group 4 is divided into 4A and B, and 4B are the multiparous women who have desired cesarean section, so it's a sort of elective for multiparous women, and group 2A and B. 2B is the one, the women that are nulliparous women who have desired cesarean section. So these are the 2 groups who need counseling to help them to head towards a normal delivery. And 5 is the group which has had previous sections. And these are rarer groups like breech, transverse lie or decline. In our hospital, between 2008 and 16, as you see, the rates of cesarean very high, 65% in 2016, the year before our intervention. Our operations research began in January 2017. We wanted to get away from a negative reducing cesarean section. We called it increasing safe vaginal delivery at CWCH, Center for Women and Child Health. Our objective was to increase the prevalence of safe vaginal delivery at our hospital. Specific objectives were to determine the rate and indications of cesarean delivery during the intervention, to increase the capacity to monitor and conduct safe vaginal delivery and vaginal birth after cesarean VVAC, and to categorize all deliveries according to the Robson classification. We have 11 activities, we'll just rush through them. There was antenatal counseling to explain to women that this is not a safe procedure. A lot of women are under the impression that having a delivery normally is an unsafe. It's now, the normal is no longer normal, it is abnormal, it is normal to have cesarean. This is a perception among many women. So that had to, we had antenatal counseling for that. We waited up to 41 weeks for spontaneous onset of labor, not going into cesarean sections early at 40 weeks. We did risk screening for safe vaginal delivery, so those women who were at risk were not, into the track of safe vaginal delivery. There's an obstetric term called a Bishop score, which is done on admission of women. It shows the progress of labor. There was supportive care during labor and delivery, extremely important for non-pharmacological pain reduction in labor. So pain reduction in labor, has been plagued with things like epidural and other forms of pain relief, which are medical, but these are non-medical, like massages, like moral support, the doula concept, someone who the mother knows who will be along with her during the delivery. So those are supportive care. There was monitoring of the labor with cardiograph and fetus with CTG, induction or augmentation of labor with prostaglandin or oxytocin, and then the classification of all deliveries by Robson's 10-group classification system, monitoring of the indication of cesarean delivery by consultants during ward rounds every morning. Why was a cesarean done, and it was reviewed, and the provision of the VPAC in selected cases. The VPAC monitoring is very important, that you do hourly monitoring on a woman who has had a previous cesarean section, that you check her pulse and her scar tenderness on an hourly basis. These are two primary things that you have to do, and you also have to have a facility for cesarean section in the facility that you're doing this, obviously. So in case there is scar tenderness, the development of tachycardia in the woman, you then rush to cesarean section, so you avoid rupture. And then, of course, the immediate care of the newborn. So all these 11 things done over a period of 2 years brought our cesarean section rate down from 66% at the beginning of the intervention in January 2017 to about 43% in 2018 December. So in 2 years, it was a struggle. It's still a struggle to maintain it because new staff come in. We had training for the doctors, and so getting them continue this culture, this practice in our hospital is a continuous struggle, but we're trying. So our cesarean section rate fell from 65% in 2016 to 55% in 2017 and to 42% in 2018. The clinical implications that we had for cesarean deliveries at CWCH, the changes that took place, just to point out that the elective section rate fell from 8.1% in 2017 to 4.3% in 2018. The other indications that fell were severe oligohydramnios, which is a reduction in the amniotic fluid in the uterine cavity that is often cited as a need, as an indication for cesarean section, but actually may not be a very strong indication. So that also fell. But just coming to Robson's classification, this is Robson's Hospital in Dublin, where the cesarean delivery rate in 2017 was 26%, one of the lowest in Europe. And they had 9,000 or plus deliveries, of which 2,229 were cesarean. And this is the classification for those 10 groups, actually 12, because 2 and 4 are 2A and 2B, and 4 and 4A, 4 and 4B. And you find the biggest group with 5 previous cesarean section, they are doing the most cesarean, out of 26%. 8.9 was the previous section, and group 2A, that is primary parents who are induced, they had the second group. Now we compare that Robson pattern. So we call this a sort of cesarean ECG. This will give you the cesarean policy and practice health of the institute that you do the Robson classification on. So it gives you a pattern. Is this a good pattern or not? If you have a very high rate of cesarean section in women who are wanting cesarean, elective cesarean, then your pattern is not good. It's like having a Q wave in your ECG. Okay, so then you need to intervene. If you have a very high rate of previous cesarean sections, giving them cesarean sections, that means your VBAC rate is low. You need to work on that. So this gives you an indication of where you need to intervene. We compare our rates, that's the yellow bars, with the orange bars, our CWCH rates with the Robson rates. And if you see, our cesarean rate was 55%, Robson in Ireland was 26%, so ours was double. So if you consider the different bars, they should all be sort of double what the Irish rates were. So here you see previous section, our rate is more than double. In the elective sections, ours was 1.7 in Ireland, ours was 7%. In the primary parents group, in the multi-parents group, it was 6.9%. Women who had delivered normally previously, they're getting cesarean sections, which is astounding. And then this was just at the beginning of the intervention, and then the third column is showing our rates after the intervention. So you see our rates of previous cesarean section that has gone down from 20% to 15%. Our elective sections in the multi-parents has gone down from 6.9% to 2.3%, and our elective section rate in the primary parents has gone down from 7 to 3.6%. Our vaginal VBAC rates are rising slowly. We had 45 VBACs in 2018, and our perinatal asphyxia rate in the newborn did not go up. It stayed the same in the 2 years. So our future activities are that we will continue with assisted vaginal delivery type 1-2s, which can also reduce cesarean section, refresher training, and painless vaginal delivery. Just some pictures showing the training and our facilities. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the very interesting presentation. Now I would like to hand over the session to the original chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Co-Chair. You could continue as the chair. Can I go? I would like to invite the first presenter now, ethical reflections on professional conservations of breast surgeons in Taiwan, to be presented by U.T. Atian, Dr. U.T. Atian, please.
My name is Yu Chen from Taiwan, and hope you have a good rest and nice shopping last night. And today my topics of the presentation is ethical reflections on professional conservation of breast surgeons in Taiwan. Since the time only 10 minutes, I will shorten my presentation. So for the global trends of breast cancer, it estimates more than 2 million new cases of breast cancer occur worldwide among women and men. So for this chart, you can see the breast cancer incidence rate worldwide. In general, developed countries such as US and England have higher rates than developing countries. And the breast cancer in Asia, you can see over the last few decades, breast cancer grown into a major health issue across much of the Pacific region. So according to the Economics Intelligence Unit and the commission by Pfizer in 2016, they have examined world health burden of the disease in 10 major Asiatic countries of the breast cancer. So for this chart, you can see the age standardized rate (ASR) of incidence, and this is about the percentage increase of breast cancer between 2012 and 2012. And they also have examined the 5-year survival rate of each country and health systems to engage the range of activities in the countries. So the breast cancer in Taiwan, compared to other cancers, breast cancer is the most frequent cancer among women. And for the statistics, breast cancer patients in Taiwan tend to be much younger than their counterparts in Western countries. So breast cancer survival rates have increased, and the number of deaths associated with this disease is steadily declining, a lot due to the factors such as earlier detection, more personalized approach to treatment, and a better understanding of the disease. The development of specialists of breast cancer medicine in Taiwan is more than 20 years ago. Breast surgery has been subordinated to the general surgery. So, along with the growth of the breast cancer patients and advanced techniques innovation and development of medication, so more physicians gradually pay attention to this area from around 20 years ago. So, for the characteristics of the breast cancer in Taiwan, the early onset breast cancer defined as diagnosis before age 45. And this sizable patient population represents women of childbearing and career developing age. So the Taiwan Breast Cancer Society established at 1997. Meanwhile, various associations of medical specialty have been established. And the mission is how to integrate multidisciplinary specialties to provide breast cancer patients comprehensive and standardized care. So my research object is long-term follow-ups and diversified support as essential needs for breast cancer patients have become the most urgent challenges and opportunities for Taiwan Breast Cancer Society. So this paper aims to explore the ways in which Taiwanese breast surgeons face such challenges as well as innovative new professionalisms. For my research method, following the context of the society development, I applied the oral history interviews to major leaders with four-topic clinical decision analysis in delineating the professional characteristics of breast surgeons. So we interviewed 9 senior breast surgeons and 1 senior nurse of the case manager. So for the 4 topics charts, the top 4 topics including the medical indications, patient preference, and quality of life and contextual features. So we try to explore the ways from the four dimensions in which Taiwanese breast surgeons, how they face the challenges and how they innovate a new professionalism. So the recent results for the first, the medical indications. So we know the competence of a physician that benefit the patient by his medical knowledge, skill, and compassion, as well as the expectation and desire of the patient to be benefited by this competence are the key component of the therapeutic relationship. So we think this therapeutic relationship lies at the heart of medical professionalism. So we can see through the rapid advance of technology and for providing more updated and accurate treatment to the patients. Through our interview, we found that the leaders, they set up breast clinical centers and breast cancer multidisciplinary treat team. And they also attach great importance to continue in education. So about the breast clinical center, I take an example for the Taipei Veterans General Hospital Comprehensive Breast Health Care Center. They integrate multidisciplinary treatment team and one-stop counter service. And they also implement the patient-centered treatment care. Their treat team including at the one clinic, they integrate the disease diagnosis team and disease treatment team involve medical oncology, radiation oncology and surgery, or an obstetrics and genetics and traditional medicine. And for the continuing education, they held a non-medical program for physicians. And they also attend international conference like ESMO, ESCO, and the St. Gallen Post meeting. So we find that pursuing advanced technology and ideas has nurtured interdisciplinary care teams, shaped the institutional foundation for breast clinical centers devoted to sustainable learning with patients. And as a result, they created revolutionary reforms in medical indications. So about the second dimension, preference of patients. So through our interviews, the doctor they shared about the lessons from Susan Love. Dr. Susan Love encouraged Dr. Yu to be a family doctor of his cancer patient and always provide various information to the patient and let them make choice. So we can find that through the leaders from Taiwan Breast Cancer Society, I just jumped to the conclusion because it's the time. For the patient preference, we found that mutual trust
Excuse me, you
sharing.
have 2 minutes.
Yes. For mutual trust and sharing information and mutual support between doctors and patients, along with sharing decision-making, could ensure expectations for patients' preferences. And for the third dimension of quality of life, since after you got the breast cancer, even you've been treated for it, and there you will face the time when you face for your life. So for the experience of the surgeons, we found that emphasizing the life quality of patients has created professional commitments to establish partnership among families, patients, and doctors. So for the fourth dimension, we examine the contextual features. For the contextual feature, we have found that the leaders of the society, they negotiate with the National Health Insurance Administration. They make efforts to ensure the national insurance payments to support fair resources allocation, to take care of the disadvantage and to overcome limitations in contextual features could have created reliable momentum to just society. So for my conclusion, We think the benefits of medicine are optimal when physicians and other health professionals demonstrate a professionalism that includes honesty and integrity, respect for patients, a commitment to patients' welfare, a compassionate regard for patients, and a dedication to maintain competence in knowledge and technical skills. So, with the purpose of fulfilling patients' needs, the breast surgeons in each medical center take a lead to set up multidisciplinary breast center to provide patient-centered care, high-quality breast care, and efficient service. So through the oral history interviews and ethical analysis by Joseph's for topics approach, the paper has shown the ways in which breast professionals' sensibilities to patient sufferings and have launched innovative and promising driving force to forge new professionalisms. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much for the presentation. The next presenter, who's the next presenter? Rukaya. All right. The next presenter is Rukaya Alam, who will be speaking on cesarean section.
Rukaya Alam from Jamnagar University. My research topic is cesarean section in Bangladesh in Chapter Women Health. Nowadays you all know that what is cesarean section? In short, I'm telling you cesarean section is a surgical process whereby the fetus are delivered through an incision on the anterior antibiotic and uterine walls. It was invented because of the goodwill from the medical science to prevent obstetric obstacles and reduce the risk for both mother and neonatal. Worldwide, 187,000 maternal and 2.9 million neonatal lives are being saved because of the cesarean section. But there is a provision from WHO that 10 to 50% cesarean section is good for in country. Less than 10% seems that the country has less medical support, and more than 50% is show that the country has a risk factor. Maternal mortality and morbidity, neonatal deaths, and neonatal health risk increases because of medically unnecessary cesarean section. Because no doctor or no health providers cannot do any cesarean section unless it is extremely needed for mother and the newborn baby. Here is the slide. The slide showing that the world's rate on cesarean section. Here you can saw that in Brazil and in American Asia countries are extremely high rate on cesarean section, which is medically unnecessary. In this site, what in Bangladesh stand. In 2001 or 2002, the rate was 2% and 3% of cesarean section. But day by day or year by year, it rose up. And in 2016, according to BDH 2014 survey, we are seeing that 31%. And the last news from Save the Children, it is for 51%, which is very alarming for our country. And according to it, 70% of these cesarean sections are medically unnecessary, and it is costing more than 350 million money, which is extremely unnecessary, like a country, Bangladesh. More than 80% cesarean sections are done by private sectors, and in which 77% is unnecessarily done, and 40 million taka are cost per year for these unnecessary cesarean sections. My research is on processing. I haven't finished yet, so I'm working on my primary data. Here I'm showing on the basis of my secondary documents, which are collected from BHS surveys, BMMS HSC survey, Save the Children reports, and other relevant books, papers, and review papers I have reviewed. Here, the main question of my cesarean sections are that the reasons of medical anti-section, why it is rising up in Bangladesh. Here the factors are that are working for it, the socio-economic status, culture, and belief women's preference, which are you can be said as differential factors, subjective factors, and clinical reasons. Differential factors are like women thought that it is easy rather than having a vaginal pain or labor pain, and it is comfortable for them because according to their time or their procedures and whenever they want, and from the subversive factors, it also is a push factor that the economic gain or profit from the private clinics or the health facilities, because from a cesarean section they get more money from rather than the vaginal delivery. And as doctors are too busy in our country and they give the schedule as their schedule time to the patient, and that is much easy for them to do a cesarean section, because vaginal delivery they have to wait for the natural labor pain time. And in surgical practice, the interns and the doctors is a good opportunity to they have gained surgical practices. And medical risk factors that most of the women and the cesarean section women don't know or don't fully aware about the side effects or risk factors after the cesarean sections, and they have a perception that if they have the previous cesarean section, they have to have the next one with cesarean sections too. And all of this, the consequences are the women are suffering from physical and psychological and plus economical cost on them and their family. Here is in brief, I am skipping that. The rates of institutional cesarean section, as I said before, that 80 to 83% in private sectors and 35% in government sectors and 39% in NGO facilities are occurring in cesarean section. The highest list of cesarean section occurring in the country is Dhaka and Khulna division, 41 to 43%, Dhaka and Khulna. The cost of delivery, as I told before, that the money or economical gain is one of the most perception or most reason because of the cesarean section from the service holder, health service sectors, that they get in home. In villages we saw that there are much more vaginal deliveries in home and there is much less money they have to pay. But if they go to in private and government or NGO facilities, they have to pay much in vaginal delivery. But these monies are according to the village survey. But in field we have seen that the money is more than this. The private facilities 2002, it starts with 2000 and varies from the hospital facilities they gave them, and this is the only just cesarean section delivery cost. There are other costs in their medicine cost, their hospital services cost, and other take care costs. Almost 20% of households in Bangladesh, they had to take the loan or sell their any asset to cover this high cost of cesarean sections and after effects of that and the medicine process. And now I'm going to tell what are the risks. This is the main focus of my research, that what is the risk of the cesarean section that randomly are done in our country, that from mothers they have post-operative infections and they are maybe several. If you saw the newspapers, then there are several news on that women are occurring many surgical wounded or bandaged by the hospitals because in our country the service providers, most of them are not too much experienced or too much aware about that. This is a random case for that nowadays, and women are getting complications from anesthesia like vomiting, headache severely 22 to 35%, and other sensation in their body. Yeah.
2 minutes.
And the babies also getting in risk because of the cesarean section. They get the axial surgical cuts in their head, in their arms, and other parts too. They need intensive care rather than vaginal care, vaginal delivery, because cesarean section they bring sometimes they deliver prematurely, or they had breathing problems or asthma and something. Because of that, they need extra medical care, and women, mother and neonatal have to stay more than 1 day to 4 days in the hospitals to after the cesarean sections. That the probable risk of factors for the children, they can be obsessed at the age of 15 years, or they can get type 1 diabetes and others. To conclude, I want to say that the government should take the precautions and should set the law to monitor these unnecessary cesarean sections. Government are working hard for this, as the maternal mortality rate and neonatal mortality rate has been very much lower by the government's initiatives, and they are working very much hard. So if we saw in the SDG to a good health and productive health service, we need to concern about the all sectors and especially the cesarean sections, because it is goes too far to control. Thank you.
Thank you. You actually have 15 seconds to go. So thank you for giving time. Professor, we will open the floor for Q&A first. So then we will get, okay. Okay, we will open the floor to Q&A. By right, the session should end at 10 o'clock according to the program. So we have extended it because of another meeting that we had earlier. So can I open the floor for questions? Please put up your hand, mention where you're from. Keep your questions as simple as possible, short and sweet, and direct it to the person that you want them to answer. First we'll go this side, Nadir, then, yeah, please.
My question about sorry, one more please. The special feature of this session is that civil surgeons from all the districts are online. So we will allow them, if they have any question. Please, civil surgeons, you can prepare for your questions also. Please go ahead.
Yeah, my question is about the cesarean section. To reduce demand for cesarean section, one way is to provide alternatives for pain relief, and regional anesthesia has been used. Some of my colleagues report that when they offer this alternative of regional anesthesia, there are a number of folks, some of them have few side effects, then the demand falls and it helps. What do you think? Have you ever tried, or were you able to work with the anesthesia team?
You know, certainly this started epidural labor pain reduction. It's not very common in Bangladesh, and so the anesthetists have to be trained, and it's also adds to the cost of the delivery process. But what is perhaps more interesting and perhaps relevant for us and recommended by WHO, that we now are promoting the non-medical pain relief in pain delivery, and that is in terms of more psychological support for the woman in labor, allowing her to walk, allowing her to drink. We have a very renowned professor of obstetrics in this country, Mia, and we said we take a very classical labor room design, which is carried out, I think, in Myanmar or some country using it. And he was telling us this room is just a very quiet room, very secluded, with an attached toilet, and the bed is quite low so that the woman doesn't have to, have difficulty getting onto the bed. And she's allowed freely to drink, and she has someone whom she knows supporting her. So she's drinking a lot, she's getting up to go to the toilet, and that process of sitting down and going to the toilet and all that, that also promotes the delivery process. So there are all these non-medical things. If you look at the rate of cesarean section from the 1970s in the United States, it was as low as 4%. this was very long ago. United States was a very developed country at that time. And despite the fact it was 4% in the 1970s, and now it is 40% in the United States. So it is a global pandemic that is happening, and we all need to worry about how to manufacture all of this.
Next one? Yeah. Okay.
Thank you very much. My name is Anke Weisheit. I'm engineer in Uganda. I'm working on the Center for Pharmaceutical Biotechnology and Traditional Medicine. I'm the co-founder, and therefore I'm looking for alternative design of labor works. Now, when I look at Ugandan labor works and facial procedures, I see they're very old style. There is a bed and this one where you sit like this. But there are other methods like water burst, bursting in water, bursting while sitting, while hanging on a small ladder. So a burst room should look more, having different types of, let me call them burst toys. There is a chair, there is a ladder, you can cook, you can stand, you can do all the things, drinking, going to the toilet, yes. But I don't see such labor work. Now also another alternative to reduce cost of labor is having burst houses, not hospital. A burst house just next to the hospital with a hotline and a straight corridor to can emergency transport in a stretcher so can be done. So that you don't put burst in hospital. Hospitals are too busy, the doctors are busy, the nurses are busy. So in that stress environment, the baby just come out. So you need a kind of a homely birth center where the structure is like calm, but also having different options. You can have a squatting position for birth, that's a more indigenous way. You can have water bath birth. So therefore you can also reduce the cesarean section needs. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we have from this side?
Excuse me.
Dr. Aruna.
Yes. I wanted to ask a question, say about the high rates of non-medical cesarean delivery. See, even in India, even if it is non-medical cesarean delivery or medical cesarean delivery, it is very less because none of the women want to undergo cesarean. So mostly they will see that they are doing a proper delivery. And why should it be only in Bangladesh where people are paying a lot of money and whether it is non-medical or medical, they are forced to do cesarean. The doctors want to do it or the women want to undergo that. Please tell me.
Thank you. Main question which I looked into my studies, the respondents say, while they are in antenatal care, they are not motivated for normal deliveries, and also those who are undergo cesarean sections before, that BBAC can do, they are not aware. This is from the patient's perspective. But from the doctor's perspective, that while the patients come in the hospital, they are already handled by many people. But in my study, it was not true. Only 10% handled in the house. So this statement is not true. Number one. Number two, some when they go to the hospital, some it's called dalal broker. They centralize the patient to go to the private hospital. It's one another factor, and the third factor is, which is when the patient came to the hospital, already motivated that your child is on risk, and the risk heart movement is going up, less, and so what do you think? Do you like to have your child or wait for normal delivery? So that every patient or every mother becomes anxious, and it is the main cause that why they ask to that management, even higher authorities, they told that when the patient comes to the hospital, They have to wait maybe as the next speaker, last speaker has told that they expected the time, maybe 12 hours or 20 hours. They don't like to wait because after hours of the duty, doctors is not always available, anesthesiologist is not available, so they like to do it in office hour as early as possible. This is the main cause of.
And they have to pay more money, is it not? For cesarean.
Yeah, cesarean. Yeah.
People have to pay more and they become ill and they don't become healthy. If they undergo cesarean, they won't become healthy at all.
No.
Okay, we can have more corridor negotiations later, but we'll specifically, I can only allow 2 questions, one from the audience and another one from our group, which is the civil servant. Is that possible to get the civil servants to answer any questions? Is there any questions from the civil servants who are not physically present here in other locations in Bangladesh? Are there any questions? Is it can they? Are they able to speak to us? Yeah.
Okay.
We have one question here.
So we'll start with here. Yeah.
Reviewed more than 100 papers, and if I'm not wrong, that the rate of serial section in India is also too high. In Telangana it's 58%, in Andhra Pradesh it's 40%, in Whip it's 38%. So it's in alarming rate in the world about the serial section. The rate is lower in African countries, but it's higher in Asia, in European countries. And as I told, that vaginal deliveries can have to you wait more than 3 or 4 days too. Thank you.
Okay, that is a reflection. Please, one more, Professor Parigan.
Thank you, sir. I have a very small question to Dr. Khushi Talukdar, sir. Sir, your study was extremely important. I just wanted to, sir, on your left-hand side, please. Yeah, sir, I wanted to ask that what was the outcome of the babies of these cesarean sections? Because it's a very interesting and important for us. You have shown us that every year the proportion of the cesarean section has been gone down. So far, we have reviewed the literatures. We have also found that one of the major cause of the mothers and the family why they want to do the cesarean section, there is a perception that maybe after the cesarean section, the outcome of the baby will be good. As the number of the children in Bangladesh also reduced, 2 or 3. So that's why I wanted to know what were the outcome of the babies. Why I ask these questions, because if the outcome is better, then that could be another motivating factor for the public health specialists to promote that even after the vaginal delivery, the outcome of the baby is also good. So I want to know your comment, please.
In our hospital, again, the slide, we're rushing through the slide. So the slide that we showed on the perinatal asphyxia rate, which is the condition where the baby is deprived of oxygen and often as being cited by obstetrician as a reason for doing cesarean section, that the baby will get perinatal asphyxia if you do not do the cesarean section. So our perinatal asphyxia rate before the intervention was 21 per 1,000 live births, and after the intervention it was 20 per 1,000 live births. So there was no difference. And this has been borne out by many reviews globally, which have shown that despite significant increases in cesarean section, neonatal outcomes in terms of mortality, in terms of perinatal asphyxia, and maternal poor outcomes have not fallen beyond a certain level after you increase cesarean sections unnecessarily. So it's a well-known thing that it does not actually reduce or increase the danger to the fetus if you reduce your cesarean section rate.
Excuse me, I want to ask one question to which you have sent.
Madam, we have already finished the time. Okay. We can do it personally later. So sorry for that.
Okay. Thank you, co-chair Professor Chandran for managing this session. In fact, we had very interesting presentations, and that could invite instigate discussion and enthusiasm among many partners, and we can see the questions are coming without any interruption. The first one was on breast cancer, and historical perspective of breast cancer in Taiwan was really indeed very interesting. But the cesarean section could attract almost all the questions and discussions because of the cost and recent development in the country and also outside the country. The participant from outside the Bangladesh would love to know that High Court has already asked the health authority, the DZ Health and the Secretary Health, to prepare guidelines to reduce unnecessary, within quotation mark, unnecessary cesarean sections. So they are working on it, and we hope the rates will be reduced. And towards that end, Professor Talukdar's paper will be very useful. How they could reduce it from 66 to 46% without endangering the mother and without endangering the baby. And that was the main reason the surgeons and the clinics provide in front of the patients and their relatives, that they are at risk. If you don't do, then you have to face the consequence. Whereas your evidence shows that there is no such substantial risk. So we will continue working further on it. Professor Abdul Rahman's paper indicated a wide range of variation of cesarean section rates, starting from 10% to 83%. And that is another indication that if the management look it closely and they work hard on these, they can reduce the cesarean section rates. And I'm curious about one point, the cost involved in the cesarean sections given by Professor Rahman and Ruqayya Alam. Why the variation is too high, and maybe the method of estimation was different between two presentations. That's why the difference is. However, we all know, we all understand, money talks. Money drives all these unnecessary cesarean sections. And from that perspective, this is the center point of today's discussion of ethical medical practice. That's why these presentations are here. Otherwise, it could be a good presentation for gynae ops society. So we would continue discussing the ethical issues centering around this year's theme. And with these words, I would like to again thank all the presenters and all the participants, co-chair Professor Shamima, Saiful from the DDHS and his team for organizing such a wonderful meeting. And thank you for inviting me to chair the session. Professor Shamima has asked me to continue the next section, second section also. Before that, there will be a brief tea break. Please enjoy the tea. Thank you.
Of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation Department in Government Employees Hospital, Dhaka, Bangladesh.
Good morning, sir. This is Tobi Maria Asif, working as Associate Professor, Department of Public Health and Informatics, Mohammed Sheikh Mujibur University.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Manja Kim. I'm teaching at the Department of Urban Planning and Real Estate, Kangwon National University in Korea. And I'm presenting as a Vice President for South Korea.
I'm sorry. Professor Dr. Abdul Rahman. I have been retired from health services after 35 years services as the director of NIPSOM, that is National Institute of Preventive Social Medicine. And after that I joined Dhaka University, and here I am the founder chairman of Department of Public Health and Informatics. Now I am working with CWCs and also cancer, Asanya Cancer Mission, Cancer and General Hospitals. Thank you very much.
Good morning, I'm Krishan Talukar. I'm the Director of Research and Consultant Pediatrician at the Center for Women and Child Health in Australia, for 28 kilometers from city. Thank you.
I'm Rupaya Alumuvita from Jamia University, Master's students from Department of Government Politics, interested in research.
Good morning. Engineer Anke Weisheit, visiting professor at UCN and co-founder Pharmaceutical Biotechnology and Traditional Medicine Center at the University of Science and Technology in Uganda.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Farah from Indonesia.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ananya from Bangkok and work in bioethics field. Nice to meet you.
Good morning, my name is Mohammed Islam. I'm the Deputy Managing Director of Shravani Medical College Hospital here in Dhaka, Bangladesh. I'm also a Master's Administration candidate from George Washington University, USA. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Dr. Ramesh from Nepal. I'm Professor in the Department of General Practice and Emergency Medicine and also involved in bioethics. Thank you.
Hello all, my name is Ravi Chandran Murthy from University Kebangsaan Malaysia, which is National University of Malaysia. I teach international relations, currently the president of the Asian Bioethics Association. Thank you.
My name is Mustafa Zaman. I'm basically a professor of epidemiology. My background is cardiovascular epidemiology, but for last 16 years I work for World Health Organization, and currently I am leading the research and publication division there. Nice to meet you.
Good morning. I am Professor Shamima Lashkar, Professor and Head of the Department of Anatomy, Shamonika Medical College. And I am the Secretary General of Bangladesh Bioethics Society, as well as I am also the Vice President of Asian Bioethics Association. Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Faina Dibat and I am a fellow of the Oxford Center for Animal Ethics.
Good morning, I am Wilson Simon from the University of Dar es Salaam, Department of Philosophy, Tanzania. Good morning.
Good morning everyone, I'm Du Jian from Taiwan. I'm one of the major founders of Taiwan Bioethics Association. And I've been served for central government in Taiwan as a consultant, and also serving university in past 20 years. And this year I began to found a new company with my new innovation, which is my company is a Healthy Asia. Now it's extended branch in China, Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, and Indonesia. And we help the regional health planning and the hospital construction. Along the line, we think that bioethics and mental health will be the foundation for all medical development. And nice to meet you all. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Esther Lu, and I'm from Taiwan. And I'm Secretary General of the Social Empowerment Alliance. Nice to meet you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Yu Jiang, and I'm currently the PhD student of National Central University of Institute of Philosophy, and my major is bioethics. And I also work with Professor Tai and Estella in Social Alliance, Empowerment Alliance. Nice to meet you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mustika. I'm from Indonesia. I'm a medical bioethics teacher, and I'm also forensic pathologist in Islamic Hospital, Surabaya, Indonesia. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. Good morning everyone. I am Abdul from Indonesia, Surabaya. I teach bioethics and also cardiologists in University of Nahdlatul Ulama, Surabaya.
Good morning, I am Dr. Abdul Managing Director of Traditional Medicine, Agriculture and Nutrition, Tribal Bangladesh, and Consultant, Traditional Medicine, Business in Manila, Bangladesh.
Good morning. I am Salma Dimura, Curriculum Specialist, National Curriculum and Textbook Books. Actually, I am Professor of Social Work. Thank you.
And Professor Aruna Sivakami, Department of Politics and Public Administration, Madras University, and then I became Vice Chancellor of Mother Teresa Women University in Kodaikanal, that is South India. I am also Vice President of Asian Bioethics. I am also a visiting professor of American University of Southern Nation and in Savita University in Chennai. I am visiting professor in 2-3 universities.
Good morning all. I am Dr. Kotrali Ghosh from Department of Philosophy, Vidyasagar College for Women, affiliated to University of Calcutta, India.
Heartiest morning to all. This is Piali Mitra of Philosophy Department of University of Calcutta in collaboration with Wolf Institute of University of Cambridge.
Good morning. I'm Farida Zuba from University of Ranchi. I'm a second year student of Department of Law. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Fakhruddin Islam, Professor of Social Work and Dean Faculty of Social Science, University of Rajshahi. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Wardatul Atman, Professor of Sociology, University of Rajshahi, Bangladesh. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Hassan Erbay from Turkey. I'm a medical doctor and PhD on bioethics and history of medicine. Thank you very much.
Very good morning. This is Dr. Arfatur Rahman, working as a Deputy Program Manager, Department of Planning and Research, Directorate General of Health Services. Thank you very much.
Good morning. This is Taira Ahmed, and I'm a professor in Oxford University in the Public Health Department, teaching mother and child health and adolescent reproductive and life skills education. Thank you very much, and welcome to all of you to Thailand. Most of you to Thailand.
Good morning. I am Tyagarajan from Open University of Malaysia. Thank you.
Okay, you might. Okay, good morning. My name is Daryl Mesa. I'm the Secretary of the Asian Bioethics Association and the President of the American University of Southern Nations. Thank you.
Good morning everyone. I'm Dr. Rajiv Mishra. I'm a project research physician in International Center for Diabetes Research, Bangladesh. Thank you.
And we have a few people in the back row who should also introduce themselves, please.
Good morning, everyone. I am Dr. Nafis Rahman Purna, Master Student of Tables. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am Dr. Sheikh Jamal Hussain, general surgeon doing private practice in Dhaka. Thank you.
Other people, please introduce yourself.
Good morning everybody, my name is Emmanuel Ekwangun from Indonesia, now still pursuing master degree in Gajah Mada University, Yogyakarta.
Morning, my name is Puri Sostika Gusti Krisnadewi. I'm from University Gajah Mada, Yogyakarta, Indonesia.
Hello, good morning everyone. I am Mr. Rafiqul Islam, young scientist, Ministry of Science and Technology. Thank you.
Other people in the back row who have not introduced themselves? Please. Okay,
I think we can pass back to the chair. There's a few people up there on the chair. Please take over.
Injury. We have two papers in this station. The first one is changing perceptions of cosmetic surgery and ethical considerations in Korea, wherein by Manje Kim, please.
Yeah, let me begin. My name is Manje Kim. I'm a professor at Gangwon National University, and I also would like to introduce my co-author in Suyong Jung, but she is not present at this moment. I'm going to present a paper on changing perception of cosmetic surgery and ethical consideration in Korea. Oh, okay. All right. Thanks. And then, yeah. Well, traditionally, and Korean culture used to consider the body and the skin as received from the parents, therefore cherishing the body based on the teachings of Confucius. With the increased interest in appearance and the effects of media and entertainment industry, the perception of cosmetic surgery has been continuously changed from negative to positive one. Seoul is particularly well known as plastic surgery capital of the world. More cosmetic procedures are performed per capita in South Korea than anywhere else in the world. So if you go to Gangnam in Seoul, you'll be able to see many signboards like this. Well, I know that you cannot read Korean, but these words are all, this means that cosmetic surgery, everything after building. Because cosmetic surgery industry is very much related with medical tourism policies, I would like to introduce some. 2009 was a historical year because the medical law was revised, introducing a registration system for foreign patients. Since then, several policies have been adopted. For example, in 2018, Medical Tourism Support Center was opened at Incheon International Airport. This graph shows the medical tourists have continuously increased since 2009, except 2017. And what happened in that year is there was a third called Terminal High Altitude Area Defense dispute between Korea and China. So because of that, Chinese tourists sharply declined. However, in general, the average annual growth rate was 22.7% over a decade. If you look at another graph, it indicates medical departments that tourists visited in 2018. Except internal medicine departments combined, the Department of Cosmetic Surgery stands out. Dermatology occupies the third, so beauty industry attracted a lot of medical tourists. Based on this background, we try to analyze the changes in the perception of cosmetic surgery by using published articles whose titles contain cosmetic surgery. And in Korea, we have a data system called WIS, Research Information Sharing Service. So we use the data between 1983 and 2019. We used several research methods to analyze data. We used R for statistical computing, UNICEF for the analysis of social network data, Network for visualizing social network data, and the latent directly allocation to find out latent topics. The very first paper appeared in 1963, whereas the second one was published in 1983. So the very first one is not really significant in terms of academic sense. But therefore, it is fair to say cosmetic surgery has received academic attention since 1983. Between that year and 2019, there were 840 papers in total. In 2009, when medical tourism policies first introduced, the largest numbers of papers were published as of 66. Since then, around 45 papers on average were continuously published every year. For an analysis, we included papers with English titles and or abstracts only, because we did not want to distort the meaning through translation. Therefore, the numbers of papers we finally analyzed were 794 for English titles and 653 for English abstracts. When we divided into two periods, there were more papers in later period than earlier one before 2009. When we classify papers by academic fields, cosmetic surgery of course showed the largest numbers of papers, and then humanities and social science occupied the second. So therefore, we decided to compare these two fields later. When we divided papers into two periods, there were not significant differences in cosmetic surgery, 285 versus 290. By contrast, when you look at humanities and social science, we noticed that about 90% of papers were published since 2010. When we did keyword analysis for papers with English titles, the surgery, let me see. No. Subject cosmetic study, the correction, breast aesthetic, and treatment occupied high ranks. In table 4 here, we compared top 10 keywords in two periods. Only 3 words, surgery, correction, and study were included in both periods. Comparison by academic fields. When you look at keywords analysis, there was no single keyword which appeared simultaneously in both periods. In cosmetic surgery, there were specifically surgery-related words. By contrast, in humanities and social science, keywords were more general and tourism-oriented. Although we did the latent deliberate allocation for English titles and abstracts in total by period and academic fields, and I'm going to produce English titles in total only because of time limit. The first one shows the optimal number of topics, so I'm not sure we'll be able to say, but 13 turned out to be the optimum. So the second figure on the right side presents the inter-topic distance map among topics. Finally, this analysis shows keywords in each topic. And because of space limits, I listed 8 keywords only for each topic because the latent the liquid allocation itself does not provide the name of the topic. You have to guess the meaning of topic by looking at keywords. But I couldn't really find out the right title for each topic. But for example, the first topic seems to be cosmetic surgery related. By contrast, the second topic looks like medical tourism related because it contains Korea, cosmetic Chinese, and tourism, things like that. But from now on, I'm going to show the results of analysis using English abstracts. Table 8 addresses keywords and degree centrality analysis. The degree centrality of node is simply its degree, the number of edges it has. So the higher the degree, the more central the node is. Although there are several variations, the order of frequencies is quite similar to that of degree centrality. And this slide shows the result of natural analysis. Thicker lines represent stronger degree centrality. I'm not going to go into detail. When we compare English abstract by 2 periods, there were not much differences. 8 out of 10 keywords appeared in both periods. Result of degree centrality was also similar to that of frequencies. So only
2 minutes left.
Okay. And then I think it will take too much time, but I'd like to mention that when you compare, the next one. So when you compare cosmetic surgery and humanities and social sciences, results were very different, and except the 3 keywords, research, surgery, and study, they were all different. Then I go to skip, so I like to make a conclusion, and in terms of ethical considerations, and the first one, cosmetic surgery has been intensely commercialized and competitive. Clinics and hospitals sometimes advertise by using famous actors and actresses' photos to give a fantasy that customers can be changed like them after surgery. And the second one says that a large number of patients do not possess complete information about the real implications of the practice, both positive and negative, and concerning social vulnerability. The number of women who go for cosmetic surgery is far much higher than the number of men. Therefore, the controversies revolving the issue raise concern about social vulnerability of women. And the fourth one is the role of media and SNS. Media, particularly TV programs, have become the main source of information about cosmetic surgery. They tend to be rapidly spread out through SNS, including YouTube. The final one is about an unbalanced provision of medical doctors. And while cosmetic surgery is one of popular departments among medical students, some departments suffer from the lack of working staffs. For example, as a result, some accidents were reported in the Department of Pediatric and Adolescents and the Neonatal Intensive Care Unit, which is suspected that those accidents were particularly caused by overworking of the doctors. So I'd like to end my presentation, and thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your Nam Nasima Sultana. Welcome, ma'am. So the question and answer session will be at the end of the presentation. So I would like to call upon next speaker, Rahman MM, Consultant Psychiatrist, Department of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation, Sarkari Karmachari Hospital, Dhaka. Dr. Rahman, please.
Thank you, sir. Good morning to you all. I'm lucky to be here with you here in this very nice session. Actually, it's a cross-section, very simple, and it's a cross-sectional study which was done during my Upajala period when I was working in Brahmanbaria district. And the question arises when the thought came to my process that there were 22 doctors who were placed in the Upajala hospital in the Shorai, and at that time I saw that there are some people, rural doctors, who are working in different areas. Those are unqualified doctors or unqualified chemists. They are attended by, even some of them, they are attended with more than 300 patients. So that interest come to me. Then I had gone through a very simple study that why people attending the course. Is it the doctor's problem? Sometimes talking about the empathetic attitude of the doctors or physician burdens or visit burdens or the waiting times. So I have gone through this study, and if you can look about this area is a cook in a locality in Bangladesh in the very distant place is trying to hear something with a stethoscope. Very efficiently performing his duty. This is the scenario. Still, according to the BBS, Bangladesh Bureau of Statistics report, 58% of the rural people is still there attending this sort of people, and where 16% of attending the government healthcare system, and of them 26% they are attending the private systems. So, but we the physicians, we are abide by the knowledges, and we also abide by some responsibilities, and also abide by the Hippocratic laws. And also we are abide by the medical ethics. But those people who are serving to the patients, to the clients, they don't have these responsibilities to follow during their treatment. So these are the works, and these are with honor they are known at their territory RMP or rural medical practitioners. These actually unqualified allopaths or pharmacists who are not formally trained with little or no professional trainings. Though there is frequent changes of wrong treatment leading to complications, sufferings in the long run, and increasing financial burden to the patients, the rural medical practitioners are playing an important role in healthcare system in Bangladesh, rural Bangladesh. So, health scientists or social scientists, they have gone through many studies that the health-seeking behavior of the people that depends upon the class, caste, sex, religion, race, region, etc. due to inequality of the property, power and opportunity distribution in the hierarchical societal structure in every society. So there is a graph that can give an idea about the decision-making procedure of the patients. That depends upon the availability of the treatment, accessibility, affordability, then acceptability, social relations, previous experience, and that sometimes force them to take the treatment from the sources or treatment people. So, the cross-sectional study focuses on the difference of health status attainment and its interrelationship between available health service providers, along with variation attitude of the health service seekers at my posting place in Brahmanbaria. So my objectives was to assess pattern of care seekers in rural Bangladesh, to explore their perception, current status of knowledge and care seeking behavior, to get an idea about the healthcare situations in rural Bangladesh, and to know about types of common diseases and health hazards faces by rural people. So it's a very teeny, and the sample size was 300. That was done through the purposive sampling by a simple made questionnaire. So it was presented by tables and figures. Here this is the place where more than 300 people attended every day from morning to the night. More than 300 people taking their treatment. Here are the study places. I have selected 5 prominent quad, and the maximum patients were male at the time of the study, and maximum of them were from age 30 to 45 years, and maximum patients were attending that 40% were housewife, some businessmen, students, farmers, service holders, day laborers, etc. So the level of education also has some role. So, and maximum of the patients, they didn't attend the school and attended up to class 5, below class 5, and maximum were illiterate or didn't pass the primary level. So as family income is an issue, so maximum of them earn monthly income was from 6,000 to 10,000, and the treatment within 2 weeks of their illness period or sickness period. So maximum patients were come to treat, so take medication for fever actually. The rest of the patient for GI problem or respiratory problem or skin pain or some others with 16%. So maximum patients attended there for treatment of the fever. So we have asked them, whom you first like or choose if there is no home remedies. Of them, 20% answered that they will choose RMPs, that works. 22% they will choose Kaviraj or Hakims. 12% for registered physician, and Upajala Health Complex, 18% will like Upajala Health Complex at their first choice, as the first choice, and there 26% also mentioned about the community clinics, sub-centers, SACMO and others, LMF. So we asked that clients that home service is best to do, whether this works or RMPs or the registered physician. Of them, 79% confidently said that registered physicians are qualified. That what's your experience regarding these two types of people? 68% mentioned that registered doctors are more experienced, but unfortunately or interestingly, 10% people then thought that quads or RMPs are more qualified than the registered physicians at their territory. So now we try to find out the reasons why we are attending the squats. So we have found that maximum of this they did this as a spontaneous practice. Some of them, which is convenient during emergency, they are very easily available. Third sequence, that avoiding physician visit burden is also a concern. Physician attitude is not empathetic. Lack of faith on hospital or doctor's treatment and unavailability of the registered doctors is also a minimal cost. So this is the discussion. So I have already mentioned some here. So more than half of the respondents give positive answers about their illness within 7 days, and 3 most frequently reported illness were fever, GI gastrointestinal problems, and respiratory diseases. Surprisingly, none of the skin or eye ENT patients went for self-treatment or service from the medical assistant or quacks. So 2 interesting matters, that 27% thought that quacks are more qualified and registered doctors, while 22% thought quacks are more experienced. Another is 12% included among the last group who thought quacks are more experienced, they have received higher education. Both rely group or no difference group in case of services 14% and another 32% in question of the experience providing information about lack of interest on evidence-based healthcare services. So, I have already shown in my result, and I am just making a comparison with the BBS which was done in the 2012 studies. The treatment sources is still 58% of the people they receive treatment from the non-evidence treatment, and these unqualified doctors, maximum 33% were done through the chemist and the pharmacist, and the rest of the peoples are homeopaths, copidas, and other pharmacists. So another is why they don't attend the registered physician. Interestingly, 58% of the people they do not think the problem is much serious. Okay, and the other 70% the treatment cost is too high, and 6% is no hospital or physician near distance. So maximum people. Another is the walking distance is a very important issue for the patient to attend the works. And another is actually the treatment cost and the quality is the second and third. The first one is best important is the distance from home. So the community clinics can play a second role to provide this evidence-based treatment. So another is waiting time, which is an issue for the government service providing institutes. That 53 minutes waiting time, where the quads giving treatment as 9 minutes. So in conclusion, theoretically existing healthcare system seems to be good, but in reality it presents a gloomy background in the healthcare of Bangladesh. Fearing visit burden and cost, quality of services and lack of physician empathetic attitude are also a concern. Quality of services and more counseling from the side of the doctors can make the confused group more confident. So I have some recommendations that the study should be done in larger scale from the institutes, and the essential that basic pharmaceutical training should be given to the healthcare providers, and awareness regarding public healthcare facilities should be improved. Hospital services should be more patient-friendly and cost-effective. Enhancement of the quality and reducing waiting time should be taken into priority. Empathetic attitude of the physician could encourage. Health insurance system can change the whole scenario. And of course, we should strengthen the community, which is the dream of our honorable prime ministers. If we could strengthen the community system, community healthcare system, that will be blessings to take the evidence-based service in Bangladesh. Thank you all.
Thank you very much for wonderful presentations. First one was cosmetic surgery, and I was curious to see how the cosmetic surgery rates are taking over other essential services there also. So it is basically we can take the marketing and the propagation that the specialties of the hospitals use to attract services. The second one is also very interesting and just presented on to answer a question why people go to quacks. He has presented, suggested several recommendations, but I would love to add one point. Doctors' communication skill is very weak, of course, and that's how you can see the quack is placing the stethoscope over the thigh to convince the patient, to satisfy the patient. But whereas patients come to me, I'm so proud of my status and ability, I really love to talk to them. So that's what makes a very big difference. I would like to share with you what. Okay, now with these comments, may I suggest to may I invite questions from the audience, and this time also I would love to receive questions from civil surgeons who are online there. Thank you. Please. Please go ahead with your question, Professor.
Excuse me, I just wanted to know why people are going too many for crack treatment in Dhaka.
No, it's not in Dhaka actually. It's one of the remote area of Bangladesh.
Okay, whatever, Bangladesh.
And I think this scenario is not uncommon in the subcontinent.
Yeah, but if it is in India,
Yeah.
there are many people who go for Ayurvedic and Siddha because their local doctors are quack doctors, but they charge little money, but they give good medicines. And very few people will go to the hospital and to the allopathy doctors because they will charge more and they will keep them in the hospital for a long time and they'll have to spend their time and they'll have to spend their money. So that is different in India, but why? There are more people who go for treatment in Bangladesh.
No,
I would like to know why they are doing that.
Thank you, ma'am, for your question. According to BBS, the Bangladesh Bureau of Statistics reports, so as the health insurance system is still not established in Bangladesh, so 68% people has to pay their health-related the payments through their own incomes. And some of the people, according to BBS, they borrow money with interest or bank loans or other relatives. So they try to reduce the financial burdens. So I think this is another seeking issues in the rural people who are incoming very less. So they have attended this type of people to save their own money. I think this is not a common scenario in Bangladesh. This is the remote areas where there is some rural areas of Bangladesh, especially in migrant posting places.
So may I supplement?
Thank you. Any more?
Excuse me. May I supplement few words with Professor Dr. Mohit?
Please.
Okay.
Please.
So still, just we came to know that the health-seeking behavior of rural Bangladesh people are still very, very strange. I think Dr. Mohit rightly mentioned many causes like that. I want to raise one thing, that is, we know that the level of income between the rural people and the city-dwelling people is, there's a very big vacuum. They earn very small amount of money. Because you know that the total wealth, there's news, total wealth of our country, 80% of the total wealth is concentrated with only 15% of the people. So these people are living in the city areas, I mean especially in this capital city Dhaka. All things are concentrated here in Dhaka. And still the people living in remote areas, they are deprived from all sorts of facilities like education, health, etc. And due to this gap, the modern facilities, modern medical facilities still beyond their reach. So that is the main problem, I think.
Thank you for your supplement. I see one hand from
Yes, thank you.